How's it going, everyone? This is the Anime Man. Here's a think piece to start off this video for you guys. What do people mean exactly when they say that a manga is cliche? I mean, the definition of the word is simple enough. It's when something is overused or betrays the lack of original thought in some sense. But believe it or not, regardless of how much you've heard the word in all sorts of different contexts, the word cliche is actually a neutral term. Yes, we're so quick to put the word cliche into a negative aspect, but truth be told, the word cliche doesn't automatically mean that something is bad or something is so overused that it becomes a bad thing to exist. Which is weird considering that in a lot of fictional writing, and especially in manga, I think cliches are virtually unavoidable. Cliches are indeed overused ideas, but put in a different way, cliches are things that are immediately familiar to any level of a reader. So really, regardless of how much of a bookworm you are or are not, cliches are there to instantly put your mind in a familiar mindset that doesn't quite challenge your mind as it would to, say, someone who is used to reading. Because if a piece of writing, whether it be manga or any type of fictional writing, is trying its absolute hardest to avoid cliches 100% of the time, then those kinds of works are usually seen by the mainstream audience or even by some experienced bookworms as something that's a little bit too weird and has the danger of being alienated by every type of reader that comes in contact with it. But with that being all said, it is a common rule of thumb in any fictional writing to try and avoid cliches as best as you can. And I mean, you don't have to be any kind of professional poet or author to understand this rule of thumb. I'm sure your 8th grade English teacher in high school has taught you this fact many times in her creative writing lessons. God, that brings back some memories. Now, I don't think you need me to tell you that manga is a lot like any other form of literature out there, regardless of how much your parents may disagree with that particular statement. And because of the nature of the definition of the word cliche in today's times, it's seen pretty commonly that any kind of manga that has any form of storytelling method or character tropes or settings that are seen as cliche be automatically thrown into the forgettable garbage pile of meh series. But I feel one thing that a lot of manga readers need to understand is, bro, do you know how much manga there is in this world? I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's safe to say that there are more manga series out there published professionally than there are anime series that have ever existed on this earth. And trust me, my boys, that is a scary amount of fictional writing. I should know. I've said them all in a video at one point. So think of it like this, with such a gargantuous amount of fictional writing that exists just within the manga world, you wouldn't start to think that there might be one or two ideas that become cliche over time. Because after reading all sorts of different manga series in the 24 years that I have been on this planet Earth, one thing I can tell you about cliches in manga is that they really don't matter at the end of the day. Eventually, you're gonna get to that point in your manga reading career where every single trope, character archetype, plot device, story setting, narrative structure, you name it, is eventually going to start to look and feel a little bit cliche. And when and if you do get to that point in your manga reading career, the one thing that is going to be the most important to you is not about whether the particular manga you're reading is cliche or not, but whether that manga can be fun and enjoyable enough that it will make you forget about how cliche it actually is. And with that being said, in today's video, I would like to do a quick review and analysis of one particular manga series that I think perfectly fits that ideology. A manga which, if you look at it just from the surface, is, yes, indeed cliche. It is by far definitely not the most unique or thought-provoking or revolutionary manga in any way. Hell, I wouldn't even say it's the most artistically beautiful manga out there, or a manga that has the most structurally sound narrative out there. And yet still, this is a manga series that has managed to stay deep within my tiny throbbing weeaboo heart for the longest time because of how fun and enjoyable it is to read from start to finish. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you Ichigo 100%. The story follows Manaka Junpei, a small schoolboy with a big dream of becoming a film director. One day, while climbing up to the roof of his school to look at the sunset, a gorgeous girl with strawberry panties falls down in front of him. Struck by her absolute beauty and elegance, Junpei aims to seek out the mysterious girl in strawberry panties. However, after a huge mix-up with another girl who he accidentally mistakes for the strawberry panties, Junpei's already difficult goal of achieving his dreams is only going to get more complicated from here on out. Now hold the fuck up there, big boy! Or big girl, big non-specific gender. No discrimination here on the Anime Man channel. Look, regardless of what you identify as, I'm sure all of you are unanimously thinking of one thing. You're probably thinking to yourself, Joey, this sounds like some garbage-ass, cliche-ass, romance ecchi manga right here. And I ain't gonna lie, it sure damn is, big boy. But again, as I try to explain in my ridiculously long introduction to this video, there is a pretty solid and good reason that I feel is the big reason why a manga that is as cliche and as boring sounding on the surface as this has managed to stay deep within my weeaboo heart and leave an everlasting impression on all romance manga from then on out. And if I were to boil that reason down to one short, sweet, 3-letter word, I would use the word fun. I'm sure if you're one of the few people who are watching this video who has actually read Ichigo 100% from start to finish, and if you are that person, fam, how are ya? Then I think you would agree with me when I say that this manga is just really enjoyable to read. First and foremost, all of the characters in the story are very believable, which if you're writing a very simple school romance, ecchi, coming-of-age human drama such as this, it is definitely an aspect you want ticked off the list. Even Junpei, the main protagonist, shows many signs of believable characteristics that exist with high school kids of his age and personality. Yes, he thinks of perverted things like any growing prepubescent boy would when surrounded by cute girls, but he also has aspirations of his own, compassion towards the girls he interacts with, and shifting and wavering directions of morality and sanity that plays extremely well with the type of character development he goes through throughout the narrative. But I think one thing that Ichigo 100% manages to do so well in such a subtle way, and is definitely one big thing that you can put at the top of the list of why Ichigo 100% is so fucking awesome, is its careful attention to the construction of its heroines. Usually with a lot of cliche romance ecchi manga, the members of the harem are usually based upon the many kinks that the author imagines its readers to enjoy. By diversifying each harem member's looks, personalities, body shapes, interactions with the protagonist, and interactions with other members of the harem, you're greeted to this colourful and eclectic group of girls that more times than not leaves you wondering who is going to take the position of best girl. But more often than not, in a lot of harem manga, there really isn't much beyond that point. Ichigo 100%, however, takes that a step further and not only creates a diverse range of potential waifus for the reader and for the protagonist, but also manages to make every single character likable and believable to the reader. Which, if you think about it, is a pretty big accomplishment for a manga that just seems so cliche as it is, right? Where usually there is a position for worst girl in any kind of harem, or it doesn't even have to be in a harem. If there is just a girl character in a manga, usually there is a slot for worst girl. But honestly, while reading Ichigo 100%, I can't find a single female character, single notable female character that could potentially fit into that genre. Every girl has a carefully constructed personality that develops in unique branches that fit each girl's experiences in the story, but also manages to make it believable and likable to the reader, which I think is a really, really big accomplishment for, again, such a cliche manga like this. I mean, trust me, there are so many times while reading the manga when thinking about who is best girl, where I'm just fucking wavering and changing my mind with every single chapter. I'm like, oh, best girl is definitely Nishino, but no, Satsuki's really good as well, but I still think Tojo is probably the best girl, is best for Monica. But then again, Satsuki is really fucking cute. Oh, no, but Mukai is also a really nice girl. Actually, I kind of like Nishino. I love them all! Like, seriously, I think Ichigo 100% is the only romance manga that I've read where I have managed to find myself and catch myself saying out loud, fuck, she's cute. And that sounds especially sad when you imagine me as a growing teenager reading this in my room at 1 in the morning all by myself while all my friends are out drinking and partying the night away. But it's true. I'm not ashamed to admit that. They're fucking cute, alright? Because regardless of which girl you are rooting for from the beginning all the way to the end of the 19 volumes of this serialization, at the end of it, you just feel satisfied. You come out of it feeling happy for every single character. It's kind of like going to an amusement park for the first time. You don't exactly remember which ride was your favorite, but you do know that you enjoyed the entire trip overall. And as weird as that analogy sounds, that's how I see Ichigo 100% as. It's the amusement park of romance ecchi manga. Sure, you might have been on a bunch of similar rides in a different amusement park before, but that doesn't make it any less fun when you're there on the day. And that's a huge, bold point that I want to make in this video. Just because a manga seems cliche, it does not automatically make it boring. Because the word cliche is not a synonym for boring. So long as an author is able to take those overused and cliche tropes and archetypes and settings and turn it into something that is fun and enjoyable and make you forget about the fact that it does have cliche elements to it, I think that is just as artistically beautiful and well thought out as a completely cliche-less 100% original manga concept. And honestly, I feel a little sad for Ichigo 100% and similar series in that vein that don't get enough chances from different manga readers, or because it is automatically thrown into this meh pile of cliche series. I mean, hell, I did a review on the Eyes manga, which, if you think about it, does have a lot of cliche elements to it, but I still think that that is one of the greatest romance manga series ever made. And I would say that Ichigo 100% right here is a very, very close second in my list. It's sweet, it's fun, it's adorable, yet humbling, and oftentimes dramatic and emotional. And yet, with all of its familiarity and clichéness, it still manages to grab my tender heart and squeeze the fuck out of it with every reread. So yeah, I guess you can just say that this is another pinnacle example of don't judge a book by its cover. And I mean, not everything about Ichigo 100% is cliche or not thought-provoking or not well thought out in any way. I mean, the names of the characters are actually a clever play on words of a compass, with each girl in the harem referencing a direction that Manaka can travel to, with each character's backstories, progressions, and growing relationships towards the protagonist, and each of the other girls also reflecting upon their hidden directional names in a uniquely clever way that I feel a lot of English readers miss out upon. And even the ending to this manga is a little bit out of the ordinary too. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for those of you who haven't read it, because I really, really recommend you guys to read this from start to finish. But let's just say that Junpei doesn't end up with the girl who you think he will at the beginning of the series, or even at the middle of the series either. There are actually a lot of bumps throughout this story that make that question of who is he going to end up with so much more enjoyable to keep track of. So if I were to ask you guys to take away anything from this particular video, is that do me a solid here, do me a big favor, and don't automatically dismiss a manga or an anime or any type of fictional creation or artistic creation just because it looks and feels cliche. But because honestly, with that mindset, you might be missing out on a hidden favorite of yours in the near future. Oh, and for those of you who are wondering, yes, I'm fully aware that this also does have an anime adaptation, but do me a second favor. Don't watch it. This shit does not give the manga justice in any goddamn way. Like, this anime adaptation is a great example of how to take something that is fun yet cliche and take the fun out of it. So just stick to the manga and nobody has to run into any problems, alright? But yeah, as much as I feel that analytical value and originality in a manga is important to making it great, I still feel that the simplest answers are sometimes the best. Ichigo 100% is the Occam's razor of manga to me, and I'm sure that all of you out here who have read manga in their lives has at least one series that personally is their Occam's razor. But yeah, Ichigo 100%, it's cliche, it's run-of-the-mill, and it may look like just your absolutely standard romance ecchi harem manga out there, but goddamn, I will defend this manga to the ends of my days. But hey, if you're one of those people who are watching this video who are just way ahead of the curve and are like, bro, I've already read all of Ichigo 100% and I liked or hated it, can you give me actually like some, new manga for me to check out, then you can go and check out Bookwalker for all of your manga needs. With a large array of romance, ecchi, and harem manga and light novels in stock, you're bound to find your one and only Occam's Razor. And you can make your quest easier by using my specialized coupon code, TheAnimeMan, to get $5 off your purchase. By using the coupon code, it not only supports your boy, but it also supports the manga and light novel industries in Japan, and you get your hands on some awesome manga and light novels for you to enjoy. Everybody wins. So if you're interested in all of that, or you're interested in the manga and light novels that I personally recommend, then make sure to go to global.bookwalker.jp, or the link is in the description below. And hey, let's do a special thank you to my lovely patrons for this month. Bring up the Patreon page. Ian Gardner, Bite the Nerd, Juan Wara, Brandon Rass, Shu Rim, Aaron McMullen, Lucy First, Little Thimble, Hunter Gibbons, Stefan Saniga, Instagatrix, Crescentia, Chris Turanek, Steve Lamb, and everybody else on my Patreon who supports me every single month. Hey, if you would like a more in-depth analysis of the character names in Ichigo 100%, as well as my thoughts on the ending to Ichigo 100%, so obviously there are going to be some spoilers on there, then there is a special Patreon-only exclusive video, and you can check that out by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/theanimeman, so definitely go check that out. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Like, favorite if you enjoy, subscribe for Anime Banner, keep watching anime. Ciao!